This is the Comedy Kiosk, podcast by Mondae and Munoz. Please welcome Mondae and Munoz. Hello and welcome to the Comedy Kiosk, a podcast in which we discuss news, opinions, facts and ideas about comedy. My name is Igor Mondae.
And I'm David Munoz.
And last weekend we went on tour and recorded an episode about it while we were on tour, while we were in Resign, one of the two places we performed at.
And we hated ourselves while doing it.
Yeah, we were kind of tired, half asleep. It was the morning before we left back home, and we haven't had our coffee yet. We haven't woken up properly, and we mostly discussed the tour itself, like the two cities where we went and how the shows went and what the venues were like. And in general, when you go on a tour, what can you expect from the organizer, the venues and so on. Yeah. Today we wanted to talk a bit more about life on tour, but talk about some kind of behind the scenes moments and how it is to actually, as a, let's say, struggling comedian, a part of the semi-professional circuit that you're trying to build yourself. How is it to go out to perform in different cities or even different countries? What are some funny stories? What are the benefits of it? What can you earn?
Why the hell do we do this?
Yeah, basically to try to answer this question to ourselves and to you. Why would anyone do this?
Yeah, it's like a retrospective right now, and we're just wondering, why did we just do that? What the hell was the point?
Lessons learned. We also are recording this not just for the podcast purposes, but to listen back and to see, like, to try to rationalize to ourselves, why are we doing this? So during this one was, I think, third time I went to Voronezh and maybe fifth time I went to Resign.
For me, it was second time in Voronezh.
Yeah.
And third time in Resign.
Yeah, and then besides this, we went to St. Petersburg. I remember once together, there was a festival. I went like maybe 2 more times on my own to perform there. And we've been to other like countries as well and performing and so on. So it is a thing that we both do, and we have some experience at this point. Yep. So what can you remember some kind of stressful, hard, maybe funny, dangerous or something like this stories or situations from the tours that you could tell us that can maybe better illustrate the life on tour, that it's not all, like helicopters, limousines, caviar and presidential suites.
We can get those? We're supposed to get that shit?
We cannot. That's the point. That's why we do these kind of tours. Yeah. But what were some kind of moments that you can maybe recollect and that could illustrate the life on tour?
Yeah. One that I mentioned before when you asked me about this Trans-Siberian and you were saying, like, how did I book them and stuff like that? And I mentioned that, I just sent out on the VK page. The difference on different venues, at that point, that was more like on the spur of the moment. So the first Irkutsk was like, yes, let's do it. Get the opportunity. While on the other hand, the Vladivostok comedy group were just very like, yeah, we have an open mic. You can show up, They probably don't know any English. It's like, geez, what the hell's the point? So it's that depending on who's the organizer and how proactive they are and how involved they are and how much they want to put an effort in. I would say is one thing that sticks out. The other one is things like when you messaged me the day before we were going to Voronezh, and I missed part of the message because it was like 3 messages, and I got the gist that we needed to book the Voronezh accommodation. And I thought we already booked that. I guess we only did the Resign one. And I didn't read the message before where you had mentioned that the person had cancelled on us. So it was me sitting at home, going through the message and going, oh shit, when I read it properly, and then going, crap. So there was Elena and I like quickly trying to book and sending messages to you and you to me going, I hope you've booked it. It's like, what's the rush? Oh shit, this is for Voronezh. I thought it was Resign actually at first. And I was like, oh crap. So it's that last minute where things fall apart.
So it was midnight before we went on the road, which was next day at 8 in the morning, and we would be in a train without connection, without Wi-Fi, and then arrive without a place to check in. So that was kind of the last minute because the Airbnb hostess or whatever landlady canceled on us the afternoon before the trip. And I think this doesn't happen to, like Jerry Seinfeld. He books like a Hilton, and the afternoon before they're like, oh, we have someone else staying staying there. Sorry, Jerry, it's canceled. So this is, I think, this illustrates well the level that we're talking about and the kind of things that we have to constantly like risk manage and crisis manage, etc. And yeah, I mean, and it's also kind of, especially since we are both foreigners in this country and you're not sure how you will communicate some things, or maybe you misunderstood something, or maybe they just, for some reason, I don't know, just decline you, etc. So yeah, and in the other city, right, we booked a place in advance, let's say 2 weeks in advance or something. Yeah. But once we came, at the time that we agreed to come, the landlord wasn't there, and he was like, I'll be there in 10-15 minutes. It was minus 26, I think, that day. Yep. And we were standing outside on the street waiting for this man to come and unlock the flat.
Freezing our asses off.
Yeah,
even with all the warm clothes on.
Yeah, waited for those 10-15 minutes, waited for 20 minutes more, and then it was almost 40 minutes. We've been standing outside on the cold. I called the guy, and I'm like, hey, where are you? And he's like, I'm inside in the flat. Should I open the door or something? I'm like, yeah, you'd think, right, that you would come out and pick us up. So,
and he actually walked right past me. I just didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
And he didn't even bother, because I'm waiting at the front. He didn't even bother to say, oh, are you the guy for the epic? No.
Yeah.
No, asshole didn't even make eye contact. Just walked straight in.
The thing was, we also had like luggage, so that could indicate that we're not just standing there smoking or chatting.
Slight clue.
It's two guys speaking English in Resign, waiting in front of your door, and you don't like think that might be the person that's staying at your Airbnb. So
oh, and it's an apartment, by the way, so it's not like we're standing in front of a house. We were standing in front of an apartment building.
Yeah, just outside on the street, basically.
Oh, bloody hell.
So yeah, and I mean, this is something that I remember when we traveled around Northern Europe last year. So in some places where it was possible, we got an Airbnb. In some places it was like hostel or something like this. I remember in Copenhagen we got beds in a hostel, so not room, beds in a, I think, 6 people room in a hostel.
How many were there of you?
It was 3 of us, and the room was like 3 more randos in the room. But also it's like a youth hostel. I mean, the problem was there was no way. It's not that we were like so cheap and we only like we go to expensive European countries and charge, I don't know, like 20 euros for the ticket. But then we stay in the thing was like we really couldn't find anything else that's near the venue, because to Copenhagen we arrived, let's say, at 3 in the afternoon, something like this, and we were leaving next day at 7 in the morning. So we had to check in fast, be like walking distance from the venue, and after the show basically go to sleep, because we had another trip. And that was the whole, like, we were, I think, 12 days on tour. Every day was like, you come, you check in, you perform, you sleep, you check out, you travel. You come, you check in every day. Except we had, I think, 2 days in Berlin and 2 days in Tallinn. So out of 12 days, we stayed only twice in the same place more than one night. So at this point, it was one of the last ones, I think, near the end of the tour. So we check into this hostel. There are other 3 people in the room. We're like, whatever, we just want to drop our stuff and go perform. So we go to the venue, we do the show, everything is fine. But then we come back, and since it's a youth hostel, there is this like big common area, or there's a bunch of people like sitting, drinking, talking, etc. We're like, okay, whatever. We pass them and we go to our room. The problem was our room was right next to that common area, and the door was like facing that like room. So around maybe midnight or midnight 30, someone pulls out the guitar and starts like singing some Wonderwall or some shit, and everyone joins in and starts singing, and for 30 minutes it's like incredibly loud. It's 1 in the night, it's like a Wednesday or something, and we are kind of trying to fall asleep but we can't. And at one point Oleg Denisov, right, so he just stands up in his underwear, puts a t-shirt on, you know, like a bold, serious Russian man. He goes into that room and goes, guys, will you fucking shut up? People are trying to sleep here. This is not a disco, this is a hostel. Hostels are for sleeping. Go to your rooms and make noise, or go to the fucking street. And like 30 or I don't know, 40 people in that room just go like, okay. And they disperse in like 3 minutes.
It's good to have a bold Russian man with you.
Yeah, but like we could just hear him kind of from like through the door from the other, just go woo, woo, woo. And like I was afraid. Like I thought, like obviously Oleg is
Daddy's angry.
Yeah.
Daddy's in a bad mood. Everyone keep quiet.
I mean, Oleg is one of the nicest, kindest people I know, but I mean they were intolerable. And they like they just, if it was maybe 20 minutes and it was, I don't know, 10, 11 in the evening, okay, but at 1 in the night, and they kept kind of singing and drinking, it could have been like 3 more hours, and we had a flight in the morning. So it's always like this with accommodation, right? Like a risk, you don't know. In the flat where we checked in after the freezing on the street for 40 minutes, we come and the shower doesn't work, and it's really hard to, like, you know, warm up because there is no hot water. Well, there is water, but the shower doesn't work, so you can't. So
it's like a hose, garden hose.
Yeah. So you can just kind of cover yourself in water, but not really, like,
not all at once, just shoulder at a time.
Yeah. So and then what about some other things? Maybe I remember we had some issues with the train because we're obviously taking trains, not some kind of, you know, private driver or helicopter or whatever, a yacht. So we took the national trains, and one we almost missed. Which was partially our fault, but not really. So we had to run and jump on the train and stuff like this.
Yeah. Well, we had the coffee. I mean, it was delicious,
very
amazing, good coffee. She really took her time getting it all right. The problem was that she really took her time to get it perfectly right. I mean, it was delicious, and the quiche was great. But
I think that's the difference between, because we live in Moscow now, both of us, for quite a long time. And Moscow is like a fast-paced city, right? The rhythm is it kind of forces you. So if you're getting a coffee to go, you're going to wait for it maybe 2 minutes, because that's how baristas work. Like, one takes the order, one prepares everything, and the third one makes your coffee. So it's like, because they know that people are in a rush. But there, since it was like Sunday morning, was it? Monday morning? Tuesday morning.
No,
actually.
Tuesday.
But it was a holiday, but still Tuesday morning. We were the only customers in that cafe, and there was a young girl really taking her time to make this coffee, the best coffee in the world. I enjoyed the coffee so much, but we did spend like 20 minutes waiting for it, which was just enough time to make us almost late to the train and have to run and jump on it.
Almost like we were late.
Yeah, we were late.
We were late. They were just nice enough to put down the stairs again so that we can climb onto it, you know. Yeah. So you know, stuff like that. You know, that's kind of the part and parcel. I mean, you know, it's that kind of chaos. It's that, you know, timing issue and all that sort of thing. But it's interesting, the people you meet. Like, you know, even like, for example, that girl. She was, you know, nice, very pleasant. But also, you know, the people that you meet along the way also kind of make it fun. So, do you have any experiences with this?
Yeah, I remember
people.
Yeah, remember when we went, it was 2019, I think, and we went to St. Petersburg for the festival. So we met up, I don't remember exactly. I think we all came at different times or something. It was me, you, and
because Arun took a plane, I think.
Yeah, and then, but you and me also didn't share a train or something. We came
separately, I think.
Separately. So I think I went like a night before or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then once we were all there, because you guys had one show and I had my own show, so it was at 7. I think yours was at 7, mine was at 7:30, something like this. So we met up around, let's say, 4, and we went to like a pub on that same street,
like an Irish pub.
Yeah, like an Irish pub, and we were like, okay, let's get some food and a beer. But then the waitress was like, oh, you're foreigners, blah blah, here, have a shot of, I don't know what was, like tequila or something. Have a shot of tequila on the house. And then we were like, okay, sure. And then one more on the house. And then we were like, okay, we're already drinking. Bring us one more beer as well. So like 40 minutes in, we're singing to like Beatles or something that was like blasting through the speakers. And we actually, I don't remember who it was. I think Arun or you went up to some girls that were sitting next to us, like some foreign.
Wouldn't have been me then.
There were some foreign girls, like I think American maybe, sitting at a table next to us, and he was like, "We heard you speak. Are you foreign?" They're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you have some plans for tonight? Come to the show. Like, we're doing a show in English."
Maybe that was me then.
It was one of you. It was definitely not me. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
It was not me. And basically, this is how you meet people. I think it is great to meet people such way. And for example, when we go to these places, Resign, I think first few times we went, we couldn't stay because we were taking a car back to Moscow right after the show. But people really wanted to meet and hang out. I don't know, is it the foreigner factor, the comedian factor, some kind of novelty factor? I don't know what is it, but people really wanted to hang out and meet us and talk and so on. Sadly, we could never stay. In Voronezh, we can stay because it's always Saturday. So we also go out with the people, have some drinks, have some food, maybe go dancing. And in the 3 times I've been there, I met 10, 15, 20 wonderful people in total. And I think this is very, very cool, because otherwise how would I ever meet those people and make friends in different cities and so on, if not? And I know that some people are like, okay, I came here for the gig, I'm in and out. Like, I do my gig, I leave. Not like I didn't come here to make friends. I came here to do my show, to do my set. But for me, it's also a reason why I go, because it's such an interesting thing that people don't want to just listen to your 15-20 minutes of written jokes on stage, but they actually want to meet you as a person and to shake your hand, to have a drink with you, to hang out with you, and so on.
Do you think also it's a little bit of ego? Because let's face it, these people come up and they want to take a photo with you. Like, the amount of times they go, oh, let's take a selfie together. Oh no, I'll get my friend to, like, you know, take a shot. Okay, then make sure the lighting's right, make sure everything. Like, they'll take 20 photos just to get the right photo with us. And then they want to go to a nightclub. They're like, oh, or go to a certain bar. Like, oh, come to this bar, you know, blah, blah. And they will, like, in Verona's, we took half an hour to 40 minutes to decide on which bar, but they didn't get bored of that. They were just like, no, we are going to go out. So do you think a little bit of ego, like we get treated a little bit more like star factor?
Well, yeah, because I think, to be honest, in Moscow, it never happens because, first of all, we're doing it for 6 years every week.
Yeah.
Now, like 3 times a week, there is English stand-up in our club. So you can kind of, if you missed one Friday, just come next Friday, right? It's not a thing that you kind of crave or a thing that is a novelty thing for you. And also, people have been seeing us on stage for like years and years. And sometimes we have this. Sometimes there are some people who came to the show, let's say in 2015 and 17 and 18, and they come now and they're like, let's do something after the show, let's hang, because I don't come that often, but I know you for 5 years and we're kind of friends or whatever, like acquaintances, buddies. But in Moscow, we don't have that. And I think no one does, even like the Russian comics, except maybe some TV stars, really. Because there is also so much going on and people have their, like, what will you do on Saturday at 11 when the show finishes? You go drink with your own friends. Like, you won't hang out.
Well, we're hobbyists to them. Like, we're just hobbyists. Like, we're not professionals who this is where our main income is. And that's the other thing. Like, when with the Verona's crowd, when they're like, when I tell them, like, oh, I teach English, they're like, oh, you have a day job? It's like, yeah, this is not, I can't make a living off this. But they kind of assume that you probably do, or you make a fair amount of cash at it. Like, I don't know, I think they kind of put you a bit more on a pedestal because no one there is doing it. Yeah. So for you to do it and do it in a big city, I don't know. It's that sort of kind of.
Well, it's also, I think, and we will come to this, I guess, as well, the profitability of it all and the cost, etc. Because in Moscow, to give, I don't know, 300, 400, 500 rubles for a show, it's a completely usual thing for live entertainment and stuff. But there, when you price a show, that we have to price it to make it worthwhile for us even coming there, it's kind of, wow, I'm paying for something exclusive, like, you know, and things like this. So I think it's the mindset, it's the standard, it's the frequency that we don't come that often, but it's definitely really nice to be appreciated, you know.
Yeah, and people dress up for it. That's the other thing I find amazing, because we are that novelty factor, but also we're kind of like for us in Moscow, it'd be like having an international comedian come, right? You know, you go to the theater, you dress up for it, you're going to wear a nice jacket or something like that. For them, us, we're that equivalent, you know? We're kind of like the city comedians who are coming, and you see them dressed up. Like, all the women are dressed up in really nice clothes. They're wearing the tightest leather jean pants things or cocktail dresses. The guys are wearing sports jackets, sort of like, you know, blazers and things with their, like, you know, best jeans and best dress shoes. So they really dress up for it, like, you know, they come in fur coats and stuff.
Yeah, it's a night out, and we used to have it in Moscow when the borders were open. We could bring like headliners, like kind of real professional comedians who are
like I said,
experienced on the circuit, on TV and whatever.
Yeah, they dress for them, but not for us.
People dress up for that as well. Yeah,
just
and
not
for
us.
us, we used to do like kind of, and we also stopped it last year, or actually the year before. I'm not sure exactly, but we used to do galas. Like a special show once a year where we showcase all the, let's say, best talent we have in Moscow in a big venue. We did one in a big theater for 500 people, the second one in a smaller one for 350 people. But it's still like, it's a theater. You sit in, like, you watch this big stage, and people would come dress up for this, and people who wouldn't come to the regular shows would come for this, which means this is the crowd that wants to come to something special, but not to something regular. That's kind
of hit or miss. And they want to be guaranteed that you're going to laugh. Like, you know, these are good.
Yeah, and this is what we deliver when we go to these other cities, because we do take like 3 people that are experienced, that definitely have like good 15, 20, 30 minutes of material probably. I mean, if they had to do 30, they could do 30. They had to do 40 and so on. And when we go to do these shows in other cities, we definitely bring the best
we're not treating it like an open mic.
Yeah, we're not like, who wants to go? You and you? Okay, let's go. No, it's like we select people, etc. But it's really a different approach from them. But I'm also really glad that, because in Moscow we have it sometimes. I met many good people and good friends through stand-up. Yeah. Not only comics, but actually audience or something like this that would come and hang out, and they're now like good friends of mine, let's say, and we hang out in and some people that came to some open mics, tried it or did like stand up for 3 months, 6 months, then stopped, but we are still friends.
Yeah.
So this, like, let's say professional, how would you say, side of our communication or our like whatever ended, but we're still personal friends. Yeah. So it's, and sadly, like, we go there only to this kind of other cities only once every 2-3 months. So
and
I can't
not even like us every time.
Yeah. I mean, the show
different
goes.
Combination.
The show goes,
there.
and then the same person maybe goes once a year or maximum twice a year. So you can't really make friends. But it's also nice to see that some people have been coming since the first show and keep coming back, and they're like, oh man, remember we met like 2 years ago? I'm like, yeah, I do remember, and it's really nice to see you back.
And do you ever say, yeah, I do remember, and you have no clue?
Well, mostly I do remember, because if we've met before, probably we've talked and we went to that drink afterwards or something, and sometimes people add me on Instagram or somewhere on Facebook, VK or something like this. So I kind of, even though I don't remember this person personally, I do remember like a face or a name, or that we hung out, that we met. So it's mostly genuine, but yeah, I think it's really nice that it's not only about, they don't come just for those 15-20 minutes of us doing written jokes, but they come for to meet us, to hang out with us, to I don't know, like spend some time. To, I think it's really nice because it shows that you're not just a performer for them, you're a person.
Okay, so at this point you're kind of saying, we're both saying that, you know, we go there because, you know, it's a lot of fun with the people, we get to meet interesting people and things like that, right? But what about the financial, Igor? What about the financial stakes? Are we rolling in the cash? Why don't we get the limos? Where's the yacht? Huh? Next time, let's do helicopter.
I mean, I don't know about you. I do get paid really well for this. So.
In that case, you're skimping on the rest of us.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's what I said. Like, we always have a limit of what we can price these shows, because first of all, standard is different in every city, and of course, like, we are not famous professional comics. Even if we were, and if we put a price of, I don't know, 3,000 rubles, then we wouldn't get the people that come, because maybe they don't have that much disposable income. And so that's why I think we have to price it as we price it, and we have limits on number of seats and the reach that we have, and of course in those cities number of people who can speak and understand fluent English. So the market is very small, and the standard is lower than in Moscow or when we go to like Europe, Scandinavia, Germany, whatever, UK. So the price has to be as it is, and the capacity is as it is, and the market size is as it is, which means there is always a limit on what we can earn. And basically what we can earn is pay off the expenses, like the cost of transportation and accommodation, and hopefully earn a bit to pay for drinks those days in those cities. So it's not really profitable. I mean, you can make profit, but it's not something you can make a living
like
out of.
$15 or something, I think, by the end of the last one. We ended up in profit, technically. So the thing is, though, we also have to keep in mind that we're splitting any profit between 3 people here, right? And maybe the actual like venues and all that sort of. We're splitting this a lot of ways. We're not solo comedians. We're not big enough to do a solo tour where people are going to come and watch us and fill out a 500-seat theater or something like that. So we're doing 40, 60 people, depending on who's going and the popularity and the time of year. And then that's getting split also between various comedians. I mean, I once met a comedian who had started in the 90s. I met him in Madrid. He'd started with with Louis C.K. and all that. Like, he knew all these guys and they'd all come up kind of together. And then he took a break. He ran his own club in Japan and stuff like that. Jonathan McLaughlin, I believe his name is. You can see him on YouTube. But he was around the 90s in the heyday of comedy then. And when I was in Madrid, he'd taken a huge break, and now he was just doing the occasional clubs or whatever. But you could still tell he had it. He was really, really cool, on point. And I was like, oh, so, at one point you were doing this for a living? And he was like, yep. And I was like, oh, okay. So, can you make a living from this? And he was like, yeah, but when I'm on tour, I'm still looking at the $1 Taco Bell meal deals.
Yeah.
It's like,
No,
You're
but
still doing it as cheap as you can.
this is how we do it as well. I mean, when I go to, I at this point, I don't want, like some years ago, like let's say 3-4 years ago, I would go and sleep even like in a 16 people hostel just to save that like accommodation money, so my profit is higher, or at least I pay off the trip or something. Now I prefer some comfort, to have, you know, like my own bed, warm water, heating, things like this. But still, of course, we are not staying in like fancy places. We are not taking some kind of, I don't know, private taxis or whatever. We take trains, we stay in Airbnbs and things like this. And it's not glamorous. It's, you know, it's not hard. It's not like, you know, I'm not sleeping on a cold floor. I sleep in a nice bed, but it's nothing like fancy. And sometimes you wait on the street for someone to open the door. Sometimes someone cancels the day before. Sometimes there's a party in the common room where people are singing and dancing and you can't sleep. So it's not very glamorous. It's sometimes very hard and exhausting.
But people seem to think it is. Like when I say, I'm doing a tour of Ferrando, they're like, oh, wow. I think they see hotel rooms and they see us going to like the venue in a limo sort of thing. I think some people get that impression.
Yeah, but really it's
not, ladies and gentlemen.
It is not.
Absolutely is not.
And as you mentioned, like with splitting it 3 ways, or sometimes we went on 2 European tours with 5 people.
Yeah.
So Central and kind of Central Eastern or Central Southern Europe, let's go with like this, countries like, I don't know, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Croatia, Serbia, and so on. You really can't price the show more than, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 euros there. And then when you divide it like 5 ways, plus the organizer, plus, I don't know, the ticketing fee, the taxes, something like this, you really, like, we lost money both of those times. We lost quite a lot of money. But in the end, I think that's really not why you go to these tours at this level, at least in this period. You go to meet people, to have fun with your friends, to test your material, etc. You don't really go to earn money, simply because you really can't, like objectively, you can't earn money doing this. So if we then say that we know we can't earn money, we will cover our expenses if we're lucky. Like if there is no kind of reason for the show not to sell, if there is no snow blizzard, if there is no, I don't know, long holiday, something that can actually prevent the show from selling out. If we sell like a normal amount of tickets, we will cover our expenses of transportation and accommodation, but we will earn basically nothing, and even like the drinks we will have in the bar afterwards will cost us money, right? So if we say that, and we know now that we like stay in, let's say, not very comfortable or not very friendly hostels, Airbnbs, we take trains that we have to run to catch, etc. We I don't know, have different, maybe some problems, maybe some extra costs on tour. So why do we do it then? What do you think? Is it worth it? What would you say?
No, and we're never doing it again, Igor. Never. That's it. It's over. No, it is. It is. And for me, like, as I explained to you before, like, you knew my situation. I actually start a new job this coming Monday, like the following Monday after we record this podcast. And I was in the middle of training at that point. It was a long weekend because of the situation with public holidays here in Russia. But it was in the middle of my training. I kind of needed to use that weekend, but instead, I went on tour with you guys, and I was like, you know, my life, because I don't know when I can do the next one because of how busy I'll be. But I still had to do work. I still had to like schedule stuff. So I then had to spend the next night after we got back, I had to spend till 4 o'clock in the morning catching up on stuff that I should have done when we were on tour. And yet I don't regret it. You know, I still would do it if I, do it again. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's the experience. I think the big thing is it's the experience. It's almost that tick, I've been on tour. But the thing is, I've already done it once before. I've done it twice before. I've now done it 3 times. So it's like, why do I keep doing it? Because it's still fun, and you get to spend time with your buddies, walking around a city, having a good laugh, sometimes, getting drunk and talking about life and things. It was like, after the first night, we sat down, the second time in the shitty place, we sat down and we just started talking about life and language and weird things. And it's just cool to be able to do that with your friends. And and have this experience, and at the same time, a little ego stroking, get treated a little bit like a star, and get the taste of what it must be like to be Ricky Gervais or to be Jim Gaffigan for just a sliver of it, just a sliver. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's from the professional side, from the comedian that goes to perform side. I think it's a very good experience. You're testing your material in front of new audiences, and you have a chance to.
But at the same time, you're taking ready material. I think is a big thing. So you taking material that you know will work, or you hope will work, but it's not exactly. It is testing in the sense of it's a new crowd. It's not Moscow, so let's see if they still work. But it's almost like that culmination. It started as a new piece. You then fine-tuned it. You then used it in a couple of shows, like, gala shows or whatever here in Moscow. And now it's like, and now we take it to the people, because we don't have Netflix yet. We're not going to get a Netflix special. So this is our Netflix special in a way.
Yeah, and plus I think it gives me some kind of pleasure, satisfaction to do even some old jokes that I've done 100 times in Moscow, and I wouldn't do it anymore because I'm tired of telling these jokes. Yeah. When it's a completely new room and I know they've never heard it and they'll probably enjoy it, they'll laugh their asses off. Yeah. I do that joke because it's fun for me to do it again.
Yeah, it actually, all of a sudden the crappy joke that you're like, I'll never do this joke again. You want to do it again. Yeah. You're almost like, oh, I could do that. And you actually get excited. Like it's almost like your first time again, almost.
So I think this, like the experience of performing for a new crowd and a chance to kind of go and meet other organizers and comics and to have it on your comedy resume that you performed in new countries, new cities and so on, really good. But do I really go for this reason? Kind of, but I think I go more for traveling, for hanging out with people, my friends, other comics, getting to know those people better, for meeting new people in every city, in every place, for hanging out, for getting those selfies and photos and drinks and contacts, etc. Yeah. So I think it's really more like this weekend again. Yeah, it wasn't really easy. It was really cold. It was really packed with events. Like we would again like travel, check in, perform, drink, wake up, travel, and it's stressful. It takes a lot of energy. If we had like a tour manager or something, it would be nicer. It would be easier. Of course, if we had bigger profit and we could stay in fancier places, but we also have day jobs, which means it's not just once a month we go somewhere travel and the rest of the time we do nothing. We come back and then do our real jobs and things like this.
Sometimes until 4 a.m. because we were on tour.
Like David, until 4 a.m. So I think overall why I really go is because it's a fun trip. It's a fun weekend away, and I get to brush up on my like jokes. I get to sharpen my comedic skills, but I also get to hang out with my friends, meet people, spend like a weekend that's different than every other weekend that I have. So I think every chance, like if, I don't know, next weekend I can go to St. Petersburg, the weekend after that I can go to Kazan, the weekend after that I can go to, I don't know, Voronezh, the weekend after that I can go to Helsinki, Stockholm, Berlin, and I would every time just make enough not to lose money. Of course, if I keep losing money, then I'm making a financial problem for myself. Yeah. But if I just make enough to break even or a little bit more just to feel appreciated for this, I'll keep doing it until like I'm, I don't know, too old to bear it physically or something like this.
I think another thing for me, like those reasons I agree with, but also it's that I'm paying my dues. You know, it's like, because you hear of these famous comedians who are like, oh, I remember when I used to go on tour. The having to work the door at a club just to get 5-minute spots. It's that paying your dues thing where you feel like you earned it later on. Like, once they become famous, they're just like, yeah, but I worked hard. Like, I had to do all this shitty stuff. This is, and it's not shitty stuff, but I mean, this is part of that, going on tours and not making really a profit and putting up with all these things. It's kind of like they'll be the cool stories that you could tell later on. And even if you don't become famous, because I don't think I will, but it's the thing where I can, when I'm thinking about retrospectively, when I'm 60 or 70 years old or whatever, be able to go, yeah, I went on tour as a comedian. Like, oh, you were in a band? Well, I was a comedian. That's what I did. And it's that retrospective, like it's the bucket list. It's ticking things off and going, I know that I've done this. And I did it a few times, not just a once off, but actually a few times.
Yeah, again, for both professional and personal purposes, I think for professional. And I think it's very useful if we go, for example, this year or next year or whenever it will be possible to go to Fringe or some other
we'll
festival, some other, like we will know how it is to come to a room you don't know, that is not the same club, the same room you do like every Friday and Saturday.
Yep.
You don't know who will the audience be. You don't know how your 15-20 will go. You will get, after, if we do the full run of three weeks, you will get tired and stressed and exhausted at some point, as well as we do on this tour sometimes. So it's a very good training for this. But also, I think from the personal
boot camp.
from the personal point of view as well, that I can say that yes, 50 people in a city like 800 kilometers away from Moscow that have never heard of me and never watched actual like stand-up in English or something like this, paid a ticket to come and to see me perform like 5 times already now. I mean, it's kind of, it does boost your ego a bit, but it also means that what you're doing is worth it and it's good, and people can recognize the quality and the value of this, which I think is an important step in even in like a semi-professional career, or if you want to turn it into a professional career, because you are trying to see, are people ready to pay you for your work,
put their money down for you and your material. And
I think we keep proving again and again through different ways, not only these tours but even our regular shows and everything else, that it is. So it also makes me feel like there is a bright future ahead and that we can make it bigger and better, etc. So I think any chance, like tomorrow there is a chance to go to some of the guys from our club, from our organization, the residents, went this weekend, one weekend after we went south of Moscow, they went north of Moscow to 2 new cities. It's the first time we have a show there, never before, but it's selling really well and the guys are really excited, and I really hope they have great shows so we can come back again. So if someone suggests like 2 cities I've never heard of before, I don't know what is the population, I don't know how far they are or something like this, but do you want to go one weekend and do back-to-back shows Saturday, Sunday, and you will maybe earn something, maybe not, but you will not lose money? I'll be like, yes, I'm down when I go. Hell yeah. So
sign me up.
Any stress, any energy, anything, like it's fine.
Kamchatka, where is that? Who cares? Let me go.
Yeah, it's a bar in Moscow. That's why I think this is a great opportunity, and I think whoever has a chance as a comedian to go out and perform in different cities for different audiences, they should always find time and energy for that. And I think audiences, if you have a chance to come out and see, like visiting comics, I think it's a great thing, because first of all, if it's not a thing you can see every Friday, then why not use that chance? And I'm sure those people are coming with their best jokes, with their best attitude, with their really biggest wish to make you entertained. And I think it's well worth it. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think in these 2 parts of our On the Road podcast, I think we shared some personal and some kind of, let's say, professional points of view. And I think maybe it will help people understand a bit better what goes around behind the curtains.
That everything is fake, we are frauds, but we really do appreciate you for coming.
Yeah, we do appreciate you for coming.
For making us feel like gods.
We're very happy to have people who come to our shows in any city, in any place. And I really, really feel honored that people recognize my talent and my work and my dedication, and I will keep doing this. I will keep being on the road, even for 2 days or 2 weeks or whatever it is. If I could get like a year of gigging, would be amazing. As long as I can.
The dream. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. We have been the Comedy Kiosk, and we hope you hear us soon. I'm David Munoz.
And I'm Igor Mondae. If you have any questions or suggestions, if you want to see us in your city, in Russia or somewhere else, if you have a bar, a venue, a comedy organization that can have us, hit us up. Why not? Thank you for listening.
Ciao.
Goodbye.